Imagine it's 1933. You're a respected psychical researcher, and your assignment to test and document the telekinetic abilities of a physical medium. Now, you care about the truth, and more than that, you want to eliminate any possibility of fraud. So you take precautions. You control the room, you control the lighting, you control the observers. You even go so far as to tie her to the chair, and to be certain she never leaves it, you employ electronic gadgetry of your own design. Witnesses are present. Conditions are strict. The controls are tighter than most investigators would ever attempt, and yet, after not one, but many experiments conducted this way, you still can't disprove her abilities. So what does that mean? Is she genuine? Does she truly possess telekinetic power? Well, not so fast, because you're about to learn that control does not always mean understanding. Stick around. My name is Michael J. Baker. For 13 years, I investigated physical paranormal claims. Objects moving, disturbances in controlled spaces, events that resisted easy explanation. In that world, people constantly argue about evidence, but evidence without control is just narrative. And tonight, we're examining one of the earliest serious laboratory attempts to restrain, monitor, and potentially falsify a physical medium. We're going to dissect the apparatus, what it could detect, what it couldn't, and why the gap between those two things is where the real questions live. Harry Price founded the National Laboratory for Psychical Research in London at a time when most investigations still unfolded in darkened parlors where atmosphere did half the work. He rejected that model. If telekinesis was real, it should survive verification through instrumentation. If it was a fraud, instrumentation should expose it. In 1923, on a return train journey from London, Price met a young woman named Dorothy Stella Cranshaw. She claimed psychic abilities, a wide and varied catalog of physical phenomena that she said she could produce at will. It was that chance encounter that led to demonstrations and eventually to formal testing. Once Price understood the breadth of her claimed abilities, he did what he always did. He escalated the controls. Restraints, electrical contact systems, mechanical detection devices, human observers positioned close enough to monitor posture shifts. He wasn't staging a seance. He was constructing an experiment. The question was whether the experiment was precise enough to eliminate ambiguity. Stella Cranshaw was, by all accounts, an unlikely candidate for laboratory scrutiny. She was a nurse, quiet, unassuming. She didn't seek out investigators. In fact, Price found her, and once he did, she agreed to testing with a willingness that kind of gave him pause. You see, frauds in his experiences tended to set conditions, but Cranshaw was willing to let him set them. She was classified as a physical medium, meaning that her claims weren't internal visions or spiritual impressions. They were physical disturbances, object shifting, movement occurring without visible contact. That category of claim is either deeply compelling or deeply easy to fake. Everything depends on the controls. Price didn't publicly condemn her. He invited her into a controlled environment, and importantly, he did not claim certainty before testing. He was fully prepared to publish exposure or uncertainty, and that intellectual honesty matters. It's what makes this case worth examining. All right, let's talk constraints. Stella's wrists and ankles were mechanically secured. Her hands maintained continuous contact with monitored electrical terminals that completed a closed circuit. So if contact was broken, the circuit opened and an audible or visual indicator would register it. The objects in the room were also wired into their own detection systems. If lifted, tilted, or disturbed beyond tolerance, their circuits would make it known. Observers were positioned within arm's reach, watching for any suspicious movement. Price had established 3 layers of control: mechanical, electrical, and human. For 1933, this was rigorous. But every layer shared the same structural characteristic: binary detection, circuit intact or broken, restraint engaged or disengaged, movement observed or not observed. Binary systems only detect what they're designed to detect. The electrical contacts measured separation, not pressure variation. A hand could still flex, rotate slightly, extend within the geometry of the restraint, and still maintain electrical continuity. Restraint limits motion. It does not eliminate degrees of freedom. And the apparatus did not measure degrees, it measured absence of disconnection. And that distinction is everything. Now, Price also developed mechanical detection devices to monitor object movement, including an apparatus referred to as the Telekinetoscope. Now, despite its dramatic name, it wasn't built to detect psychic energy. It was built to detect mechanical interference. Lightweight objects, sometimes enclosed beneath glass domes, were delicately balanced and connected to electrical contact points. Even slight displacement could break the contact, activating a buzzer or an indicator. It functioned as an early motion alarm, simple in principle and precise within its tolerances. So what you're looking at inside component B is deceptively simple. A small switch or contact plate sits at the base of the housing. Price would place a lightweight object directly on top of it, completing an electrical circuit. And while that object remained in place, the light in the smaller dome would stay lit. Proof the circuit was intact and proof nothing had moved. But if that object was disturbed, lifted, shifted, or displaced in any way, the contact would break and the light would go out. That was the signal. Not an alarm that something happened, but a light that stopped proving nothing had. No movement. Circuit complete. Light on. Object disturbed. Circuit broken. Light out. Simple. Binary. Even elegant for its time. The genius of it is psychological as much as mechanical. That light sitting there glowing steadily was a constant, visible reminder to everyone in the room, observers, skeptics, believers alike, that the controls were holding. Until they weren't. During certain controlled sittings, disturbances were reported while the monitoring systems produced no conclusive indication of manipulation. Not no indication, no conclusive indication. The system did not demonstrate fraud, but it also did not demonstrate force without contact. It produced ambiguity. What stands out in Price's published report isn't triumph, it's caution. He did not declare her genuine. He did not declare her exposed. He acknowledged potential weaknesses in his own design, a rare and commendable admission for an investigator of his era. That placed him between believers and skeptics, satisfying neither, unable to demonstrate deception, equally unable to eliminate it. There's something worth sitting with in that position. Price built the most sophisticated control system available to him. He tested her repeatedly. He published his uncertainty rather than burying it. And the answer he came back with was, "We don't know." Sometimes that's the most honest conclusion science can offer. By modern standards, the limitations of Price's setup are clear. No continuous motion tracking, no pressure quantification, no multi-angle synchronized recording, no force sensors embedded within the restraints, no millisecond timing correlation between limb flexion and object disturbance, no redundant detection layers eliminating tolerance margins. The system detected contact loss. It did not detect micromovement. The absence of a triggered circuit does not equal the absence of motion. It equals absence of detected separation. That is a much narrower claim. And in that narrowing lies an ambiguity that has defined his case ever since. So here's the real question. If you were designing this experiment today, not to confirm belief, not to confirm skepticism, but to genuinely attempt to resolve what happened in that room, what would you build? How would you eliminate the blind spots? Let me know in the comments below. Harry Price built the most sophisticated control system available to him, and under those controls he did not demonstrate fraud, but his system had tolerances, and tolerances are notorious for creating uncertainty. The truth is, we don't know what happened in that room, not because the question is mystical, not because it is unanswerable in principle, but because the instrument was not precise enough to resolve it. This isn't a paranormal conclusion. It isn't a skeptical conclusion. It's a methodological one. The trap Harry created just wasn't complete. If you like this episode, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, stay curious and question everything.